If I had known the lovers would mean him, I would have asked for a refund and a refund on fate, too. It was a Monday. I remember that because I was still hungover from the tarot reading I had with Sage, the psychic/life coach/walking red flag my friend Dana swore by. She had incense in every corner of her apartment and a Himalayan salt lamp that hummed. Not glowed, hummed. It sounded like it had a secret. Sage looked me in the eye and said, "You're about to meet your twin flame. You'll feel seen, but also burned." At the time, I laughed. "Burned? I haven't even been kissed in months. Let's start with warm." Then she pulled the levers. "You'll meet him at work, but be careful, twin flames don't always mean soulmates. Sometimes they come to destroy you. You have karmic history. Heavy, unresolved." "Cool," I said, swigging her lavender tea like it was tequila. "So I'm dadding a fireball." She didn't smile. I didn't take her seriously. I mean, I work in commercial real estate. My twin flame would be a dude named Greg in pleated khakis, arguing over square footage. And then he walked in. That same afternoon, my boss introduced the new regional VP, Colin Price. I don't know how to explain it, but everything went quiet, like the office exhaled. He wasn't ridiculously hot in a magazine way. He was tall, clean-shaven, confident, but there was something in the way he looked at me. Like he'd read every diary entry I'd burned in college. He nodded and smiled, just a regular, firm smile. But I swear, when our eyes met, I heard Sage's voice in my head, "Burned." That night, I couldn't sleep. My brain was playing a reel of his mannerisms, how he tilted his head when someone spoke, the way his fingers tapped his notepad with precision, like a pianist. I hated myself for being that girl, drooling over her superior. But I also hated how much I wanted to see him again. And then I did, and again, and again. He started showing up everywhere. Coffee machine, he was suddenly a dark roast guy. Team lunch, sat across from me every time. One day he said, "You always add honey to your tea. Interesting." I froze. Because that's not something I ever did at work, only at Sage's place. And he said it so casually, like he was testing me. Was it coincidence? Was he just observant? Or was I losing it? At our monthly sales review, he complimented a line from my pitch, "No space is empty if someone has the vision to fill it." That line? That was what I had told Sage when she asked why I was still single, not even part of the official pitch. I laughed nervously and said, "Did you read that somewhere?" He just smiled. "I guess we think alike." "No, Colin, we don't. At least I didn't think we did. But suddenly my whole body was betraying me. Blushing, leaning in, letting him closer, like a moth to a flame. And oh, did I burn. He started texting me late, just quick things. "Thought of you during that pitch, you would have crushed it. There's a rooftop opening Friday, feel like it's your vibe. Some people just get it, you get it." I didn't reply at first, then I did, short, cautious messages, then longer. By the third week, I was sharing my insomnia, my weird family, even that I still talk to my dead grandma at night. He said, "You're more alive than anyone I know." I told myself it was just attention, just flirting, just work synergy. But Sage's words kept coming back, seen and burned. The tipping point came when I found a note on my desk. It wasn't signed, but I knew it was him. "You feel like déjà vu, and I've never believed in it before." Colin started calling it serendipity. I called it dangerous. He never touched me, not once, not even brushed past me in the hallway, but the way he spoke, the things he knew, it felt more intimate than sex. I had a boyfriend at the time, Jesse. He worked night shifts, ate Pop-Tarts for dinner, loved me the way you love an old hoodie, reliable but forgot, and I hadn't thought about cheating in our 3 years together. Until Colin made me feel remembered. And that's how the fire started. I didn't know how far it would spread. It started small. A coffee run here, a walk to the elevator there. Colin never asked for anything, and that was the problem. He made everything feel like it was my idea. "Need a ride to the offsite?" I figured we'd both be heading that way. Saves gas. "Sure, Colin. Let's pretend this isn't your car smelling exactly like my ex's cologne. Let's pretend my hand didn't graze your console and you didn't flinch, like you wanted to touch me but wouldn't dare." But it was never just logistics. There were looks, pauses in conversation where my pulse would spike, moments when our eyes locked and neither of us said a thing. This wasn't some schoolgirl crush. It was something more insidious, the slow building of a tension you can't name, but you're very aware lives underneath your skin. At first, I thought I was crazy, projecting, reading into things, so I pulled back. Stopped replying to late-night texts, left meetings early, talked more about Jesse, started wearing that frumpy beige cardigan like it was armor. Did it work? Of course not. Colin just changed tactics. He began delegating projects to me, big ones, high-profile clients, presentations that got me FaceTime with executives. Everyone thought I was killing it. I thought I was spiraling. Because every time I opened my mouth to speak in those meetings, I could feel his gaze on my mouth. Not creepy, calculated, calm, like he was already 3 moves ahead and I was playing catch-up in a game I didn't even sign up for. Then came the rooftop night. He'd mentioned it 2 weeks before, a new venue opening in Midtown with a panoramic skyline view and mood lighting that belongs in a movie. I forgot about it. Life happened. Jesse's mom got hospitalized. I was meal prepping like a 1950s housewife. I wasn't going to a rooftop anything. But the night of the launch, I got a text. Colin, looks like you didn't make it. The view isn't the same without you. I swear my stomach flipped. Why the fuck did that line hit like a threat and a compliment in one? I ignored it. He texted again. The lovers, that's what Sage pulled, wasn't it? I dropped my phone. I hadn't told anyone about that. Not even Dana. And unless I was hallucinating entire conversations now, this man had just named the exact tarot card from my reading, with the exact tone Sage used. I sat down on the kitchen floor like I'd been shoved. Was I being gaslit, stalked, played? Or worse, was I still curious? Because the truth was, despite every red flag, my heart wasn't scared. It was thrilled. The next day, I walked into the office and tried to act normal. He wasn't there. People whispered something about a leadership summit. I tried to get work done, but every file I opened, every tab I clicked, I imagined him watching. I opened my email. There was a single line from Colin. Some fires aren't meant to be put out. No subject line, no attachments. I slammed the laptop shut. My palms were sweating. When did this stop being flirting and become something else? I called Dana. She was the one who told me. Girl, this is textbook twin flame manipulation. They don't destroy you with chaos. They do it with reflection. They hold a mirror to all your fears and call it love. I didn't want to believe her. I wanted this to be a fantasy. A little hot, a little dangerous, but not destructive, not real. But then Colin came back, and this time the rules changed. He started asking personal questions in public. You've been quiet lately, everything good at home? I hope Jesse realizes how lucky he is. Tell me something you've never told anyone. Everyone at the table laughed like it was a game. I wasn't laughing. Because I'd seen this move before. It's how you make someone feel special, by pretending they already are. The final straw came during a quarterly happy hour. Colin leaned in close and said, If I kissed you right now, would it ruin everything or fix it? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. I went home that night, crawled into Jesse's arms, and cried like I had been broken up with. But by who? A man who never kissed me. Or myself, for almost letting him. Something had to break, and it did. Just not how I expected. You think, after a moment like that, after a man practically whispers a question that splits your relationship in half, you'd avoid him like he's radioactive. You'd be wrong. The next week, I was in the break room reheating leftover lasagna, trying to pretend like my life wasn't crumbling in 400-watt microwave light when Colin walked in. And it was quiet, not the casual, oh, we're just coworkers quiet. The kind where the air is thick and everything you're not saying screams louder than words. I didn't look at him, he didn't move. He just said, You've been avoiding me. I turned slowly, calm, like my heart wasn't punching the inside of my chest. I've been working. He smiled, that infuriating, half-amused smirk that said you can lie to yourself, but not to me. He stepped closer, not touching distance, but close enough that I could smell his cologne and feel the shift in air pressure. I shouldn't have said that last week. I waited. But I meant it. I laughed loud, too loud. Colin, you're my boss. You didn't say no. And that right there, that moment, that was the first time I realized this wasn't about me being special. It was about me being willing. He didn't stop because of my relationship. He didn't stop because of HR. He stopped because he wasn't done yet. And I was giving him room to play. I left the break room without another word, but something changed in me that day. I wasn't confused anymore. I was mad. Mad at myself. At him. At whatever starry-eyed version of me thought the lovers meant fairy tale instead of fucked. The universe tried to warn me, and I laughed. So I went looking for Sage, again. It took 3 days to get her on the phone. When I did, I just said, "You remember that guy I told you about?" There was a pause, then she said, "The devil in a suit, yeah, what did he do?" I froze. Wait, what? I pulled a clarifier after you left that first reading. I didn't want to freak you out, but it wasn't just the lovers. It was the devil and the 5 of Swords. I stared at the wall. So what, you thought I couldn't handle the truth? No, she said quietly. I thought you already knew it. And that did it. I went to work the next day and requested a transfer. Lateral move, no drama, no explanation. Colin didn't say a word, not to me at least. But I started getting weird stares from the new girl in admin. Whispered comments in the hallway. One of the VPs, someone I barely knew, asked if I was doing okay after the breakup. Breakup? I asked Dana if she'd heard anything. She said no. 2 days later, I found out Colin told people I had confessed feelings, that I had taken things too far emotionally, that he'd let me down gently. He flipped the script before I could even open the book. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. Instead, I did something better. At the next all-hands meeting, when Colin asked me to share a few words about my new role, I stood up, smiled, and said, "I'm grateful for every challenge that revealed people's true intentions. Some men will call that drama. I call it clarity." Dead silence, except for Dana, who snorted. Colin never spoke to me again. And honestly, that was the best part. You'd think that once I left his orbit, Colin would move on, that he'd focus on one of his other little admirers, because yes, I found out later there were others. Plural. But no, he didn't just let me go. He went scorched earth. First came the rumors. I was emotionally unstable. I was jealous of other women in the office, that I couldn't handle rejection. He never said it directly, of course. He was too smart for that. But somehow, these phrases kept surfacing at water coolers, in Slack channels, and during post-meeting vent sessions. Then came the mistakes. My calendar would randomly get wiped. Meeting invites I'd sent never got delivered. My name was mysteriously left off of team emails. And when I brought it up to HR, "Oh, we haven't seen any pattern, but let us know if it continues." Let me know, it never stopped. Colin was painting me as the problem, while he sat in meetings smirking like a man who'd already won. Meanwhile, my body was screaming at me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I'd cry in the shower and then rehearse my strong woman voice for the office. I'd stare at my reflection like, who even are you anymore? And then I broke. One Thursday, I was standing in line at Starbucks, dead on my feet, when Sage texted me. Just 4 words. "He's not your mirror." I stared at the screen, because in tarot speak, that hit like a freight train. A twin flame is supposed to mirror you, your light and your shadow. But sometimes, it's not your twin, it's your lesson. That's what Sage was saying. Colin wasn't my destiny, he was my damn test. So I went home, pulled out the deck she'd gifted me, and did my own spread for the first time in months. Past, the lovers. Present, the tower. Future, the fool. I laughed so hard I scared my cat. The lovers had brought me here, the tower had knocked it all down, and now I got to start over. But before that, I wanted one last move. We had a quarterly office party coming up. A huge event with cocktails, name tags, and that annoying corporate DJ who played Pitbull remixes like it was still 2012. I RSVP'd yes. When I showed up, I wore a red satin jumpsuit I'd never had the nerve to wear before. Hair slicked back, lips blood wine bold. Colin saw me across the room and flinched. I floated through the room like I belonged in every damn corner. I wasn't avoiding him, I just didn't care. And then came the real twist. A girl from marketing, Kelsey, 24, full of nervous laughter and too much mascara, pulled me aside in the restroom. "Hey," she whispered, "did you ever date Colin?" I blinked. "Why?" She hesitated, then said, "Because he's been texting me a lot, and he said you and he were toxic together, that you were obsessed, that he had to file something with HR. My stomach turned. "Did he now?" I wanted to check. You seem nice. I didn't want to step on any." I cut her off. "You're not the problem. He is, just be careful." I walked out of that bathroom and out of that party, knowing something no one else there did. Colin wasn't dangerous because he was charming. He was dangerous because he knew he was. And he'd keep hunting until someone finally torched his illusion. Well, I had a match. I didn't plan to go nuclear. Honestly, I thought I was past it. I thought I'd evolved beyond revenge fantasies and dramatic exits. I had my tarot cards, my therapy, my breathwork app. I was good. But then came Monday. Kelsey didn't show up to work. Word spread fast, she'd quit over the weekend. Just sent a resignation email and disappeared. No goodbye bagels, no awkward hallway hugs, gone. And Colin, he looked smug, relaxed, like he'd cleared another name off his list. That's when something inside me cracked open. I opened Slack and started scrolling, screenshotting, saving, then I went into my inbox, looked for everything I'd been BCC'd on, every shady little breadcrumb I'd ignored. Colin was smart, sure, but not invincible. He used his personal email more than he should have, had sent jokes about certain employees' outfits, had made weirdly detailed performance notes about women who'd rejected his feedback, even forwarded one of Kelsey's photos from a company retreat to his own account with the subject line, "Wow." And I hadn't seen it before because I wasn't looking. Now I was. I didn't send anything to HR, please. HR lived in Colin's back pocket. Instead, I printed them. Every screenshot, every inappropriate comment, every chain of gaslighting and passive aggression and shady little lie. Then I did the one thing he never expected. I booked the conference room. Quarterly growth recap, I called it, sent the invite to the whole team, Colin included. When he showed up, he gave me a mock salute and whispered, "Trying to steal my job, flame girl." I smiled back. "No, just shining some light." Then I passed out folders, one by one, silent room, pale faces. I didn't speak for the first 3 minutes. I let the paper do the talking. At minute 4, I said, "If anyone here still wants to believe Colin's narrative, please go ahead. But I think we've all earned the truth." He stood up. "This is harassment," he snapped. "This is defamation." I looked at him dead calm. "Everything in there is verifiable. And if you want to play legal games, I suggest you read the last page. That's the lawyer I already spoke to." He froze. No one clapped, no one needed to. You could feel the shift in the air. Colin's spell broke like glass. Later that day, he was placed on administrative leave. 2 weeks after that, he was gone. No goodbye email, no corporate statement. Just gone. But don't think this is a fairy tale ending, because here's the thing about burning bridges. You still have to walk through the smoke. After he left, HR tried to do restorative check-ins, which felt like being hugged by a robot. I still had to do my job, side-eyeing every new male hire like they might be another Colin. And I still got anxious every time a Slack notification popped up after hours. But I started sleeping again. I started laughing again. And one morning, I got a package from Sage. Inside was a new tarot deck. On the first card was a note. For the girl who turned the devil into ash. The hardest part wasn't taking him down. It was figuring out who I was once he was gone. Because here, what nobody tells you about toxic relationships cloaked as fate, when they end, you don't just lose the person, you lose the story, the fantasy, the belief that the chaos was somehow meaningful. The day after Colin was fired, I came into the office early. Just sat at my desk with my stupid mug that said Boss Babe Energy and stared at the screen. My inbox was empty. My calendar was quiet. No Colin hovering behind me. No secret glances. No adrenaline spikes when he messaged me at midnight with "Wanna brainstorm?" Just silence. And for a second, I hated it. I missed the drama, the rush, the twisted sense of being chosen, even if I'd only ever been bait. But then I remembered the look on Sage's face the night of that party. The way she gently took the drink from my hand before I toasted to us. The way she hugged me like someone who'd already read the ending of the book and cried for me in advance. I texted her. Just 3 words, "You were right." She responded instantly, "Wanna talk?" I met her in the little bookstore cafe where we'd first done my reading. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just pulled out that same deck, the one that had shown me the lovers and the devil in the same breath, and dealt the cards without asking. First card, the Tower. Collapse, trauma, ego death, no shit. Second card, the Star. Hope, rebuilding, vulnerability. And then the third card made me cry. The Fool. New beginnings, clean slates. A girl with nothing but a small bag and a dream, stepping into the unknown. I looked up at Sage, who just nodded like "See." "Am I her?" I asked. "You always were," she said. "You just forgot." I sipped my lavender latte and let that sit. Let it swirl around in the ruins of everything I thought I wanted. That week, I started making changes. I put in a request to move teams. I started going to yoga, not for the cute instructor, but for the way it made me feel like my body belonged to me again. I deleted all the photos I'd saved of Colin, not out of spite, just release. I messaged Kelsey, apologized. She didn't respond right away. But 3 days later, I got a voice memo from her crying. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved me. I thought I was crazy." I didn't save her, but I showed her she wasn't alone, and sometimes that's enough. One night, I pulled out the deck Sage gave me. I sat on my living room floor, lit a cheap candle, and drew a card just for me. The Queen of Swords. Clear, honest, direct, not ruled by emotion but not afraid of it either. I laughed because yeah, that was me now. Maybe not healed, but real. And finally free. Sometimes, I go back and reread that tarot spread from the first day. The Lovers, the Devil, the Moon. At the time, I thought it meant romance, passion, maybe a little mystery. Now I see it for what it really was, a fucking blueprint. The Lovers wasn't about love, it was about choice and temptation. The Devil was about being chained to something that felt good, but wasn't. The Moon, lies, illusions, shadows pretending to be light. And me, I walked right into it smiling, eyes wide open and completely blind. I think about Colin more often than I want to admit, not because I miss him, but because he became this mirror, this grotesque reflection of everything I thought I deserved. And for a while, I did think I deserved it. That's the part that still messes with me, how long I stayed, how many times I ignored my gut, how many signals I dismissed because they didn't fit the twin flame narrative I'd built in my head. It's easy to romanticize toxicity when someone calls it destiny. But it's not. It's just damage, dressed in cosmic glitter. A few months after he left, I ran into his wife. Ex-wife, I guess. We were both at this silent auction fundraiser for the company, because of course Colin used to organize it. She recognized me first. I braced for a scene, but instead, she just gave me this small, tired smile. "Did he ever tell you about Vermont?" she asked. I blinked, no. "That's where he took me when we first started dating," she said. "Said it was his favorite place in the world, that I was his piece." Guess where he said he wanted to take me? Fucking Vermont. She laughed, not bitter, just bone-weary. "I used to think I was special," she said. "Then I realized I was just next." We didn't talk much after that. Didn't need to. There's a sisterhood in shared delusion. An unspoken bond between women who survived the same fire and crawled out with different scars. Sage moved out of state. She texts me sometimes, sends me weird memes about astrology and Mercury retrograde. I love her for it. I owe her more than she knows. As for me, I still read tarot. Not like a convert, more like a woman who respects the fire now that she's been burned. I keep that first spread pinned to my fridge, not as a warning, as a reminder. To trust myself next time, to ask better questions, to listen when the universe whispers instead of waiting for it to scream. And if you're wondering whether I believe in twin flames anymore, yeah, I do. But I think mine is me. The girl who dragged herself out of a dream and built something real. Who looked at the mess and said, okay, now what? Who pulled her own damn card and chose herself. That girl, she's the flame, and I'm never letting her burn out again. Subscribe to my Mia's Stories YouTube channel for raw, emotional stories and authentic insights that encourage healing, growth, and understanding. Don't forget to be part of a supportive space where stories inspire and lessons resonate. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. Your opinion truly matters to us, and we're here for you.